Hey, how you doing today? I am Taquila Coleman. In today's video, I'm going to share a dream the Lord gave me yesterday in the early morning. So the counterfeits will tell on themselves. Your spouse knows you've been loyal. Okay. So I had this dream in the early morning yesterday. The date was March 16th, 2023. But in the dream was this lady who I used to work with. Okay, I'm gonna come back to tell you a little bit more about this lady. But she was in my dream and she knew of my spouse. I believe that they were dating, they were talking, because that was the impression I got in the dream. And I found out, somehow in the dream, I found out that she was talking to several different men along with my spouse. And so, right when I was about to reveal this information to my spouse, she began to tell my spouse about all the guys that she was talking to. And so, my spouse said back to her in the dream that he thought he was the only one that she was talking to. And then the scene switched to um I don't know where she went, but the scene switched to now my spouse turned and looked at me and I was the last one standing. It was almost as if I was just being highlighted in that moment. And I began to discern my spouse's thought, because I could hear in the dream as he was looking at me while I was just standing there. I was the only one standing there. I was the last one standing there. I began to discern his thoughts, and he said, "You were telling the truth all along. You were the one who was loyal all along, right?" And then I woke up. So the lady who was in my dream, the lady who I used to work with, I believe the Lord placed her in my dream because of what she represent, right? So this lady I used to work with, um, very jealous. Okay, this was a woman who was very jealous of me. She would compete with me. She would compare herself with me. There was a time when her and I were working at this job where she learned of someone who I was interested in dating, and then she, you know, all of a sudden became interested in the same individual, right? And she created all of this confusion, came in between, that little thing, between myself and this guy at that time, right? And it was just a mess. She was just someone who was very messy, okay, and very jealous hearted, very envious of me, right? And so I believe that's why God placed her in my dream, because he wanted me to look at what she represented, okay, her character, right? And so this dream is telling not only me, but for some of you, okay, that the counterfeits will tell on themselves. Okay. You don't even have to say anything. Okay. The counterfeits are going to tell on themselves to your spouse. You continue to be loyal. Your spouse, as they come to learn the truth about the counterfeit, your spouse will get the revelation that you have been telling the truth all this time. They're going to get the revelation that you have been loyal to them all of this time. Okay. And it was something else that God highlighted to me in my dream, because after she told on herself to my spouse, and then my spouse said back to her, I thought I was the only one you were talking to. And then the dream switched to me just being the last one standing, right? And so that caused me to think about the scripture that says, the last shall be first and the first shall be last. See, the counterfeit, they may have been first to get with your spouse, but God is highlighting in the dream. They may have been first to, be with your spouse. They probably was first, in line. They probably was the ones who your spouse gave a chance to. But God is going to bring truth to where there were lies, and He is highlighting you. Okay, He is bringing the last to the front. Okay, so be encouraged in knowing that your spouse will know who was lying and who was telling the truth all along. Your spouse will get the revelation that you were the one who was loyal to them. You was the one who, had their back, was supporting them, was for them. Your spouse will get this revelation without you doing anything. Because remember in a dream, as I began to learn of her talking to all these different men, I was about to reveal this information to my spouse. But before I can reveal it to him, she just began to tell him about all of the guys she was talking to. Okay. So you don't even have to try to reveal anything to your spouse. The counterfeits are going to expose themselves. They are going to tell on themselves to your spouse. Okay. So be encouraged in knowing that the first shall be last and the last shall be first. Okay. Your seat, God is removing all counterfeits out of your seat. So get ready to take your seat. Get ready to be back in your position. Okay. And know that your spouse, their eyes will be open to you, and your spouse will know that you were telling the truth all along, and you have been the one who was loyal to them all along. All right. So that is it. I am Taquila Coleman. I'll talk to you all real soon. Take care.